Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2062. I'm Mike Matthews. This show is called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
What, you don't like the name? Okay, I'll change it. I'll change it to the podcast du jour. I'll call it the podcast. It's not manure. It's a good show because people ask the question, why, like this guy? Why? Beautiful. Yeah, it's that kind of a show. It's a little quirky.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And then I sang a song, and then I smacked my lips, and then
Mike's
we discuss
Daily
stuff in the world.
Podcast.
I guess we look at news.
Yeah.
Let's look at some news. Let's look at some. This is an interesting thing. With all these horrible videos that are out there to watch about what's really happening, and then I didn't actually watch the video. I heard they played the audio on a show called First Light this morning. It was on the radio. They played the incident that happened in Georgia. And it happened at a Wendy's. The guy who was later killed was in his car. He looked like he was sleeping. A policeman showed up and said, "You got to move your car." And he falls asleep. And anyway, you've probably heard the whole story. But at some point, somebody at the Wendy's called the police to get this guy out of the drive-thru. At some point at that store in Minneapolis, if at any point I'm incorrect with my facts, please let me know. A clerk called about the $20 bill? Is that what I heard? And that's how the whole thing happened with George Floyd. How it all started with someone calling the police. In both of those incidents, in fact, the owner of that store in Minneapolis even said that it is not.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It is not typical policy for his clerks or anyone, or clerks, for his employees to call the police when something like this happens. He said, as a manager, or the manager will go and talk to the guy and say, look, this isn't a real unit of currency, please. They'll discuss it, but calling the police, okay, with the Wendy's situation, do the employees not go outside? I guess Wendy's as a company probably says, this is all stuff I don't know. It's all conjecture. Basil, do you know? Have you done research into this? Because that's what I would like to know, is that at some point, I'm just saying we probably call 911 way too much in this world. We call the police too much over little things. And I had to call the police. I think I've only called them in my entire life once, and I had to do that last year when a unwanted guest showed up to the house. A very threatening unwanted guest showed up to the house, and I informed, guest or a person just trespassed basically, and I informed this person through I kept everything shut, but I basically said through a window that was slightly ajar, hey, you can't be here, you're on my property, you need to leave. And they said they're not going to leave, and I said I'm calling the police now, and they said okay. So I let them know I was calling the police. The police showed up. The Castro Valley, either was the CHP. Castro Valley is unincorporated, so you get the CHP. Sometimes you get, I don't know if it's the San Leandro Police Department or Hayward, but someone showed up, and they were extremely nice. The police, CHP police, whatever they were, the law enforcement were incredibly nice. They asked the person to leave. The person was not going to do it. So I forget now if they were physically removed or not. But I remember there was just a lot of yelling outside, and then they finally left. The police or the law enforcement person came to us and said, It was extremely nice, asked us a few questions, and it was, I mean, perfect. And I can't applaud how well it was done. I can't. It was perfect. And for what it was, that kind of an awkward, horrible situation. I mean, not as horrible as the other ones we've been talking about, but for what it was, it didn't escalate. It didn't escalate at all, and it was perfect. So if we could just live in a world like that, where when something goes wrong, but I think we probably the guy asleep in the driveway, Wendy's maybe says, hey, employees, don't go outside. We only pay you so much, so don't go outside because we don't have insurance to cover you if something happens. So just stay inside and call the police. That's all right. Well, you know what, Wendy's? Your store is burnt to the ground. Your restaurant is gone in Atlanta, Georgia. Not that that's right. That ain't right. I don't like the whole damaging people's property thing. But at the same time, we got to think about the word escalation. And in our society, we're already, think about it this way, we're already at an escalation point because we were invaded as a country. And now we are, it's like we've been fighting a war since February. And we probably need to chill out a little bit. A lot. We need to de-escalate, bring it down. Chill out. Simmer down now. Simmer down. That's all I'm going to say about it. I guess that's all I really wanted to get off my chest about that. But I think that's some of what's happening now. And people that I did not know even cared about this topic one way or the other are joining the Black Lives Matter movement. That are contributing in some way or helping out. It's here, folks. It ain't going away. You can say all you want that Antifa's involved and all this other stuff. It ain't going away. It's here. It's clear. And we have to deal with it and come up with a smarter situation and think about de-escalating. That's my little contribution. There have been plans that have been given, from much smarter people than me to local government about what needs to happen with the police department. We need to get politics out of the DA's office, and whatever corruption there is in the police department has to go. Law enforcement department needs to go. Anywho, easier said than done, right? That's right. I had to do my one right for today. If saying right is wrong, then that was wrong.
Right?
Okay.
Good.
Ooh, Putin has a hypersonic weapons vow. Putin, under pressure after approval ratings slumped to 14-year low, claims Russia is winning hypersonic arms race. Hypersonic weapons. Wow. I have the hypersonic weapons. Oh, wait, that was German. I have the hypersonic weapons. That was my threatening Russian oligarch voice.
I say it's better to get along with Russia than not.
Ooh, the podcast picture today is not of what Bing's picture. Bing, not to give them a little plug. I'll give them a plug and then I'll give them a slug. The plug is you can get Bing points if you search the internet with Bing, which has been around now for over 10 years. Can you believe that? Trying to take on Google. I don't know how well that's going. I heard somewhere that they're going to change the name to Microsoft Search or something. But they today have a surfer on the beach in Bali, Indonesia. Oh, it's so tropical, so nice as we are approaching summer. The podcast picture today was my lovely lady friend and I. We were at a little place that makes the beer recently. And I'm going to have to be very careful how I title, caption this picture. on the website and all the social media I posted to. By the way, I am on Instagram at MikesDailyPodcast. So I'm going to have to be careful because I don't know if exactly we were supposed to be in this brewery. But at any rate, there we are. And you can see us smiling at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Outside a cafe anyway. Somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, Podcastro Valley Mont today. Look who's here.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Gift shop is back open for business. Everyone has to stay at least 6 feet apart. Mike Matthews.
Okay. That's good.
No, Mike Matthews, I don't like it. I wish people were closer to each other.
Yeah, if it would be nice. At some point, we'll be back to be closer. But now, at this point, if you get too close, people say,
What are you, nuts?
back off, man. So tough to do in a grocery store. Oh, by the way, I've been wanting to mention this forever on my Mike's Daily Podcast show. When I drive to Podcastro Valley Mont, lip smack, I drive on Mission, and there's a stretch of Mission in South Hayward that goes right about to where the border with Union City is. They redid this whole stretch of Mission. It took them years, and I had to drive through construction zones for years, and it took them forever to get it done, and it's just about done. It looks like it's done. They got the concrete planters. It looks nice. They got nice plants. It looks nice. They still have ugly orange traffic cones everywhere. Everywhere. Ugly orange traffic cones. When are those going to leave, South Hayward? When are you going to take those out, South Hayward? Oh, and hey, Podcastro Valley, when are you going to change the traffic signal at Castro Valley Boulevard and Center Street? It stays, there's a crosswalk sign that stays on all the time. When you get to that intersection, you're going to be sitting there a minimum 5 minutes. It is the long, and there'll be no cars. No cars. You're the only car at the intersection. Nobody cars going through the intersection, and you just sit there for 5 minutes. Ridiculous. Okay, I thought I'd bring that up. Traffic rant. I'll use the traffic sound effect then. Nah, I can't find the traffic sound effect. We'll go with this one. Yes, because it's ridiculous. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, Mike, I could work on those signal triggering relay systems, and I could fix that for you, and it'd be done in no time at all. That would be very awesome if you could do that. Thank you. All right, well, maybe he'll do that before the next show. But next show, it's going to be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Tell me what you think about anything that we covered today. You can call me at 336-MM-DAILY. That's 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast tries to be.
I like the way you say that.
Oh, that's Christopher Guest, by the way, that voice. Good friend of his is Harry Shearer. They were on Saturday Night Live together. They were in the Credibility Gap comedy group together, along with Michael McKean. Harry Shearer has had a show on the radio since 1983 called Le Show. He still has it on. It's on in the Bay Area, I think on KALW. I think down in Los Angeles, it's on KCRW. He had on a guy yesterday who was talking all about the coronavirus and spreading all this fear about what the coronavirus does that I have not heard Dr. Anthony Fauci say at all. Quantum leaping what coronavirus can do, spreading the coronavirus fear like crazy. And that guy, I looked him up. He's not even a doctor. He's a historian that talks about in books that he's written, and he gets to teach at some university in Louisiana about viruses throughout history, flus, epidemics, pandemics. And he's just the stuff he was extrapolating. And Harry Shearer is a comedian. He's not really a journalist. Actually, he is kind of a journalist. He did now I see the Louisiana connection. He's got ties to Louisiana, Harry Shearer. He did a movie about Katrina and how the government was completely horrible in helping people. It didn't go so well. as you remember. So he did a documentary about that. I see the connection. Anywho, this professor, whatever, these type of voices should not be on the radio. And so I went to Johns Hopkins website to try and verify what the guy was saying, because it was just so too much. Oh, and then he's saying you can't trust what the CDC says. I'm like, wait, what? No, stop that. Let's stop that. Let's de-escalate. What do you think? Let's all try that together. Sounds good to me. Have a great day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!